Alright, hello everybody. Looks like we are live and ready to go. And before we get started, for those of you on YouTube, hello. This is going to be a stream that gets put on YouTube, so if you're watching on YouTube, thank you so much for the support over there. Doing Twitch and YouTube at the same time has kind of been the most efficient way for me to do things. But I will try to get some more dedicated YouTube content out there, so don't think I'm forgetting about you guys. But you know, being able to stream live and then upload that to YouTube has just been the most kind of efficient strategy for me. I'm going to be updating the social media, you know, saying we are live, so bear with me for a few moments as we get fully set up here. Okay, so it looks like we're mostly ready to go here. And what we've got in front of us here is an awesome deck. A deck that's one of my favorites. And if you've been following my channel for any amount of time on YouTube, you'll know that Jeskai Saheeli is by far just like my favorite modern deck out there. You know, Mardu Pyromancer. It's hard for me to say always, like, is it Mardu Pyromancer, is it Jeskai Saheeli? I don't know. I can't say which one's my favorite, but right now, today, we'll give the spotlight to Jeskai Saheeli. So, it's one of the first few decks that I topped a major event with. I guess topped is kind of the wrong word. It implies that I top 8'd. I didn't top 8. I top 32'd, which is still, to me, pretty sweet. So I top 32'd the SCG Open in Roanoke in 2017, which was really awesome. And that's kind of what led me to believe that this deck actually has some legs, right? I went 11-4 at like a large event. I was like, you know what? And that was with very minimal testing. Hey, Leshy, how's it going, man? Glad to have you in chat. Hope you're having a great day. And that's what kind of led me to kind of playing with the deck more. And then someone on Magic Online by the name of Jan H, which I later found out on Facebook, which was Jan Huang. A fantastic Jeskai player in Modern, just a great Magic player in general. He picked up the deck and he just started firing off 5-0s out of nowhere. He's probably got, I want to say, 20-something, maybe more 5-0s with the deck, you know, in total. I think so far I'm at work, so I'll be in and out. Oh, no problem, man. Glad to have you here, though. Really appreciate it. But he just, you know, really took the deck to its maximum potential, I think, or at least very close to it. Now, obviously, the meta fluctuates and things like that, but I'm very happy with the work he's done for the deck, and he's really developed a really solid core based off of what I originally built. And what I originally built was even based off of other lists that top 32 GPs, right? So my list wasn't completely original to begin with, but you know, after seeing the GPs in Europe that top 32, and then I top 32'd an event in the US, and then and I think really the deck never picked up steam after that, and I really wish it did. But not going to worry too much about that, right? Because we love this archetype, and we're going to make it work. I think even Sean McLaren played it for a few streams as well. I know he's quite he's a fan of the Jeskai strategies in general, but you know, I'm glad that he's given it some airtime as well. So I just noticed we have this mismatching op. Let's go ahead and fix that. Can't have mismatching cards. That's just sloppy. Just sloppy. But this is the deck list right in front of you, and if you're familiar with the changes or the list that I had in the past, you'll know that there are quite a few changes to what we see in front of us here. So I'll start with the mana base because I think that's the easiest to talk about. So originally I had 2 Celestial Colonnade in here, but instead I now replaced them with 2 Spirebluff Canal. The major reason for that is number one, I want to have smoother curve outs in the early game so that I don't get steamrolled by aggressive decks. I think it's really easy to get steamrolled by aggressive decks in the current metagame, whether it's spirits, humans, even dredge. Sometimes having that untapped mana buys you enough time, right? So having untapped mana in the early turns I think is really important, which is why I'm going away from Celestial Colonnade in the current kind of metagame. It's my only modern deck. It drives me crazy to have different printings. Oh yeah, for sure. I copy and pasted the deck list from MTG Goldfish, and then I just copy and pasted it into Magic Online, and it chooses the you know, the printings. For some reason, it chose Opt from the newest printing, and then 3 of the older ones. I don't know. You should ask WotC for their algorithm. But yeah, essentially that's the main reason for you know, the swap away from Celestial Colonnade, especially because when we're not a dedicated control deck. Now I will say that Celestial Colonnade comes in really handy when the games go long and you have to go to your alternate win condition, which is, you know, Bolt Snap Bolt and things like that. You know, I can't like knock Celestial Colonnade down too much. I think it's a fantastic card. Obviously, I'm a control player at heart, but I think right now it might be more of a liability than it is helpful. So that's going to be the major change for the mana base, but the rest is pretty stock. Jesus Freak P413, how's it going, man? Hey, my brother, I know you're playing Mardu right now. Have you tried Arclight Phoenix yet? And let's get some wins. Yeah, let's hope we can get some wins, right? I have not tried Arclight Phoenix just yet. I really want to try Caleb Durward's list. Definitely looking forward to doing some sort of stream with his list maybe sometime in the future. It is definitely on my agenda. But testing off stream or off content creation doesn't happen very often for me anymore. So this is kind of my testing time, right? This is me working to test things for you in real time. So maybe you don't have to. So what I present to you here is not perfect, but in general, I won't have much time to you know, test strategies outside of content creation for now. For the time being, but I look forward to hopefully getting that time back, you know, maybe during winter break or Thanksgiving break, you know, when things kind of settle down academically. But those are going to be the major changes for the mana base. Moving on to our Cantrip base. Right now, I've swapped all of the Serum Visions for Opt. Now, I've come to the realization that Snapcaster Mage is a card that you really want 4 of in a like blue Jeskai control deck. I think it's just such a powerful card. Now I would go down to 3 because I didn't have enough instants or sorceries. It's kind of awkward to snap Serum Vision's main phase, but the solution to that, in my opinion, is just to play Opt. Now obviously it does not dig as deep. It will not dig you out of as many holes, I will say, as Serum Visions does. So for example, like when you're got your opening 7 and you have an Opt and 1 land versus 1 land and a Serum Visions, I'm much more confident keeping the 1 lander Serum Visions than the 1 lander Opt. So I think we may run into some issues with our 22 land base when it comes to that. I hope not, but I will admit our curve is not super low for a 20, you know, to really support 22 lands, so we'll see if the switch from Serum Visions to Opt makes a huge difference for us. I do like the ability to hold up Opt. I think we have certain reactive elements in our deck that would be useful to be able to hold up mana, because sometimes you don't know what you want to do with that Snapcaster Mage, or you don't know what to do with that open you know, mana, right? So sometimes you want a Serum Vision, sometimes you want to Lightning Bolt, maybe, but Opt kind of saves you the you know, decision point, right? You can make your decision at a later point when you have more information, and that way you can maybe make the better play. So Serum Visions versus Opt, not sure what's correct necessarily, but I do kind of like how Opt plays with a deck full of Snapcaster Mages, as well as a deck that has reactive elements. Moving forward, 2 cards that used to be staples in the deck, which is 4 Spreading Seas and 4 Remand, have now been trimmed to 2 each. So again, super aggressive meta out there right now. Spreading Seas against an aggro deck is just laughable. Obviously, it's great against Tron. It's okay against grindy decks. It's sometimes okay against aggro if you're on the play, but it can be a really major liability. So I'm not a huge fan of the 4 Spreading Seas right now. It's a little bit slow. And Remand itself is also kind of slow. You know, there's going to be aggressive decks that just get really under you, and you don't have time to just sit back on your remands and hope that it draws you into combo pieces, right? Or that it hopes even that it stalls your opponent long enough. Because Remand, you could remand the 1-mana spell and then they just replay it in that same turn or something like that. Modern is very, very efficient. So Remand right now is just uncomfortable. So what I've done is replace 2 of those remands with Logic Knots, because just being able to counter an opponent's spell is really important. Even being able to counter like a Lightning Bolt, for example, whereas Remand would not be able to win that fight. Like when they're Lightning Bolting your combo, Logic Knot just steps right in the way of that and says, okay, I actually can protect the combo, whereas Remand can't actually protect the combo. Hey Brian, how's it going, man? Hope you're doing well. I'm glad you're able to pop in for a little bit. Oh, we got that follow. Thank you for the follow, Brian. Thank you, thank you. Being able to leave yourself open to having multiple choices on how to use your mana is always good in a tempo shell. Yeah, 100% agreed in regards to Opt. Yeah, that is a huge benefit to playing a card like Opt over Serum Visions. Now, you'll also see the other side of that, where Serum Visions is just incredibly good in a combo deck, right? We're, at heart, I will say we are a combo deck. So that is something, you know, we should think about as we're playing our games here. But that's going to be kind of the explanation for trimming some of the pieces down here. Wall of Omens is just always a cantrip, so that's why I like having a couple more copies of those than I normally do. Normally I play 1 or 2, we're up to 3. We also want, you know, cards that can blink, be blinked with Feldar Guardian. You know, just because Spreading Seas, you know, is a great card. And that's one of the benefits of Spreading Seas, is the ability for it to just be blinked by Feldar Guardian, to give Feldar Guardian more targets, so you can at least turn it into a cantrip, whereas normally it's just a 1/4 that blinks something. But I kind of like Wall of Omens more in that slot, especially when we're playing 7 Planeswalkers in this build. Obviously, we're playing the 4 Saheeli Rai, but then we have a Jace Architect of Thought, Jace the Mind Sculptor Teferi. Wall of Omens does great in a shell where you need to protect Planeswalkers on the ground. So that's what I really like about the Wall of Omens, specifically in a Planeswalker heavy shell. Yeah, so the Walker split, I got asked that on Facebook as well. The reason I like to split my Walkers in a shell like this is, number one, each one of these Planeswalkers has the ability to you know, replace itself. So either through Jace's 0 or Jace's -2 or Teferi's +1, all of them have the ability to at least replace themselves right off the bat. So if your opponent removes it, and if they use a card to remove it, you're already up on card advantage. And if they use cards to remove it, you know, that's also less interaction going against your combo. Now, the reason I split them up is because a deck that sees so many cards like this, you'll find yourself in the opportunity where you can select to keep one over the other in certain instances. Let's say you're opting and you see Jace the Mind Sculptor on top. Well, you're up against Mardu Pyromancer, right? You don't want Jace in this specific instance, for example, because you need to control their tokens, right? So maybe you're looking for Jace, right? The other Jace Architect of Thought. Or maybe you have to deal with a really troublesome permanent, right? Teferi can do that. So in a deck that sees a lot of cards through Opt, through Wall of Omens, through Spreading Seas, through Remand, through Saheeli's +1, through Feldar's ability to blink your cantrips, through Snapcaster Mage's ability to blink your to flashback your Opts, you're seeing all these cards. So having versatile card options in your deck, I think, is really good for a format as wide as Modern. So that's why I like kind of splitting it up. Each of them are strong in their own specific scenarios, but also each of them are individually strong for what the deck is trying to do, which is just see more cards and burn your opponent's interaction. Because by themselves, they are threats your opponent has to answer, right? If your opponent leaves you to brainstorm twice, 3 times with Jace, I would say that unless the board position is so heavily unfavored against you, you're probably ahead, right? So Not only does it replace itself and give you card selection, it also burns your opponent's interaction and forces an answer. And that's really important for a deck that relies on a 2-card combo. So that's my explanation for the the split. I think that covers it pretty well. But if you have any more questions, feel free to ask. I kind of went through that a little bit quickly, and maybe I missed one of the points that I originally had. But that's going to be most of the main deck, right? I think I just covered that. For anyone who's not familiar with the combo, I don't want to skirt right over that, right? So the combo is Saheeli Rai and Feldar Guardian. So this is a turn 4 combo in Modern. Obviously, best case scenario is a turn 4 combo. Obviously, you don't have to combo on turn 4. You can combo later than turn 4. But the point is, this deck threatens a turn 4 combo, and that's very relevant against some of the more both fast combo decks and aggressive decks of the format. You're able to be a control deck that can buy time by using your tempo tools and your removal spells, buy just a little bit of time to get in there and combo off, which really puts a clock on opponents who are also trying to win the game very quickly. So this is great against Tron. This is great against Valakut. This is great against Ad Nauseam. So all these decks that Jeskai traditionally has a really poor matchup against, Jeskai Saheeli kind of flips the percentages. Well, not that much, but the ability to have a very fast win condition in a traditional control shell is what makes the deck a little bit different than traditional Jeskai control, obviously. So certain matchups that you normally would find are unfavored with Jeskai control are now more even or even slightly favored as Jeskai Saheeli. So that's one of the major draws to playing a deck like this. So the combo is Saheeli Rai and Feldar Guardian. What you do is you go Saheeli Rai -2, create a token that's a copy of target creature or artifact you control, except it's an artifact in addition to its other types. That token gains haste, and you exile it at the beginning of the next end step. What you do is you target Feldar Guardian, which says when Feldar Guardian enters the battlefield, you may exile another target permanent you control, then return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control. So you target Feldar Guardian, you make a copy of Feldar Guardian, a token that has haste. The token copy with its triggered ability targets Saheeli Rai. Saheeli Rai blinks itself, right? It goes out of existence, comes back as a new object. Now you can reuse Saheeli Rai's ability, target Feldar Guardian again, and then you see how you kind of have a loop here of infinite Feldar Guardians that all have haste. They all have 1 power. That is something to keep in mind in certain corner cases, but generally an infinite army of 1 power creatures is able to deal infinite damage to your opponent, right? Now this combo can be a little annoying on Magic Online, but that's the general gist of the deck, and hopefully our opponents will be kind enough to concede if we ever reach that point. So that's the main deck. Hope you enjoyed the breakdown on there, whether you're watching live right now or watching on YouTube. This is where I'm at currently with Jeskai Saheeli. We'll cover the sideboard very briefly here. So 3 Rest in Peace is really important in a metagame dominated by Dredge. You'll be lucky to go through a league on Magic Online without running into Dredge at least once. 2 Stony Silence and 2 Ceremonious Rejection are going to be great against Hardened Scale's Affinity as well as KCI and Tron. Those are also huge decks in the metagame right now. Really important to come prepared to fight them. Baneslayer Angel can do a really good job facing off against the graveyard-based creature decks like Dredge or Bridgevine if you can survive that long. And they're also great against other creature decks that, might be light on removal. And then we have 2 Dispel to protect the combo as well as fight off against other control or combo decks. We have Vendilion Click against other interactive decks or non-interactive decks even, right? So what's great about Vendilion Click is you can kind of do whatever you want with it, right? Vendilion Click allows you to start a fight on your opponent's end step if you're up against a control deck. You can do it on their draw step. You can disrupt combo decks. You can disrupt mid-range decks. It's just a great card almost everywhere except the aggro matchup. And in a combo deck like this, you would probably find me main decking a card like Vendilion Click if the metagame wasn't so dominated by aggro decks. But Vendilion Click does a great job in disrupting your opponent as well as clearing the way for the combo if your opponent has interaction. So sometimes they might even burn their interaction on Vendilion Click, and then you can just disrupt the rest of their hand or leave it as is or whatever you want, right? Vendilion Click is just a really solid magic card against a wide range of decks in the format. 2 Anger of the Gods, because I really don't want to lose to Dredge today, so having a great sideboard plan for them is really important. Dredge just gets knocked out by a card like Anger of the Gods. Now, they still have some game with Conflagrates, with Creeping Chills, so it's important to realize that Anger of the Gods is not an I win button against them, but it definitely helps slow down, buy you time to hopefully be able to answer the rest of the things that they have going on. It's also great against other go-wide aggro decks. You know, it's a little shaky against humans and spirits, right? It's not an I win button over there. So, spirits and humans both have the ability to make their creatures have above 4 toughness, and at that point, Anger of the Gods is just out of range, right? But outside of those cases, Anger of the Gods does a really good job in beating up, you know, aggressive decks. Oh man, talking a little bit too fast for my own good here. Next up, we got Izzet Staticaster. This card is great against Lingering Souls. It's great against Mardu Pyromancer. That deck, you know, pops up every now and again, so I like having the ability to kind of beat up on them with Izzet Staticaster. It's also great against, you know, humans. It's great against Death and Taxes. It's great against Elves. It's great against all these decks that you would think Jeskai normally has a really good matchup against, but it can be shaky if you don't have the right tools out of the sideboard, right? So that's why I really like Izzet Staticaster. Another cool thing with Izzet Staticaster and Feldar Guardian or Saheeli Rai is that you can actually did stream go down? I hope the stream didn't go down. It blacked out on my screen a little bit, but I hope everything is going well. You guys can let me know if things are still good on your end. But what's nice about Izzet Staticaster is you can target it with Feldar or Saheeli to make a copy of Izzet Staticaster, and now you can ping something twice. And that comes up every now and again as something to keep in mind. And then Engineer Explosives, just a great catch-all spell. Can hit creatures, can hit enchantments, artifacts, whatever you need. It can usually hit them as long as you know it's 3 mana or less. It's a really great card for decks that rely on certain CMCs, like Jund has a lot of 2 mana spells. You know, certain like aggressive decks have a lot of 1 mana spells. So it's a really nice catch-all and helps you destroy cards that you normally wouldn't be able to destroy in our colors. But I think that covers just about everything. So thank you everybody who's tuning in with me today. We'll go ahead and jump right into a modern competitive league. And let's see if we can get some wins today. Again, I'm mostly testing out this configuration here, so hopefully it works out for the best. Alright, looks like we're on the play, so we've already won the first fight. Interesting hand. So this hand has a lot of interaction. We got some lands as well. Pretty smooth mana base, actually. I think these are the kind of hands you just have to keep when you're on Jeskai. Hope you run into a deck where removal spells are good, and you know that's just how it goes sometimes with our colors. You know, this hand does not have a very proactive hand, right? We don't have Spreading Seas or Wall of Omens. We don't have Saheeli Rai or Feldar Guardian. With that said, we have a mix of decent interaction against a certain part of the metagame. Hey, Niklas coming in with the 3-month Twitch Prime subscription. Thank you so much, man. Ooh boy, there he is, the man, the myth, the infinite cat looper. That is what people call me, the cat looper. That's infinite cat looper. I like that. I like that. Thank you so much for that 3 months, buddy. I really, really appreciate it. That's so kind of you. Looks like our opponent's gonna, you know, mulling over their decision over there, whether they want to keep or not. Alright, looks like they're going down to 6. And let's see, they kept on 6 and put 1 card on top. So we have a couple options here. We can lead on Scalding Tarn, and that will let us hold up Bolt or Path on turn 1. We can also just lead on Steam Vents to save our fetch land for a potential Jace draw. It's tough, because if we're up against an aggressive deck, we might just want to Lightning Bolt on turn 1 to save some tempo. I think I'm going to lead on Scalding Tarn here. It's a corner case, but we have the option to play around something like that, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Buy some good food with it? Oh, you know I will. That is almost like all of what I spend my money on, like food and magic. I eat out way too much because I'm a very lazy human being. So it'll be interesting to see. Alright, Mishra's Bauble. So this indicates to me it could be Lantern Control, it could be Grixis Death Shadow. I'm sure there's other Bauble decks that I'm missing right now, but those are the 2 ones that come to mind. Could be Abzan Traverse. Alright, looks like they targeted me, so I'll be pretty excited to crack this fetch. Eat out. Alright, alright. Get him out of here. Alright, looks like Watery Grave indicates to me that we are probably up against Grixis Death Shadow. I imagine we'll be losing. Well, they probably want to take Snapcaster Mage unless they have another discard spell ready to go. And at which point they probably should take the Path to Exile. Well, that's actually not necessarily true. I definitely think Snapcaster Mage is probably the correct take here. Are those kinds of jokes the reason I'm not a mod yet? No, honestly, the reason you're not a mod yet is because I'm very, very lazy. But rest assured, by the end of today's stream, I will mod you, good sir. So being Jeskai in this matchup is actually quite nice. So while we don't, our burn spells don't interact well with our opponent's creatures, they will have to play a bit more conservatively, knowing that we can burn them out at any, well, not at any point, but when we get to a certain stage of the game, they're going to have to be worried about our bolts and our snap bolts. So while this Lightning Bolt is not the best card in this matchup, it can be useful later in the game. There have also been opponents that have tried to bluff, like a 3/3 Death Shadow as if they have a Street Wraith. Sometimes I just go for it. Yeah, it looks like they took Snapcaster Mage. It's most definitely the correct take there. Alright, here I think I'll fetch a Hollowed Fountain. So we want to be able to have double blue up next turn. Alright, looks like our opponent draws off of Mishra's Bauble. Saheeli. So this is one of the matchups where the combo is a little bit shaky. Now the question is, do we want to play our Steam Vents tapped? Or do we want to play, like, let's say our opponent plays a creature like a Death Shadow that has less than 4 toughness, and then they also keep up Stubborn Denial. No, I think I'll just play it slow here. I don't think there's any reason to rush. I think our life total can sometimes matter in this matchup. So Just making sure we take the least amount of damage from our lands can be important. Now we'll also have a decision next turn if our opponent keeps up a blue mana for Stubborn Denial. We might not run out Saheeli Rai. That might be something that we just hold on to for a turn until we have 4 mana, and that way we can play around at least 1 Stubborn Denial. Now if my opponent wants to go double Stubborn Denial on my Saheeli Rai, I think I'll be pretty happy. Looks like my opponent might be tapping out here for, say, a Thought Scour, which would be really good for us. Alternatively, it could be, yeah, Serum Visions, also likely. Not every list plays Serum Visions these days, but I know people have been moving back to that. So let's see how my opponent decides to scry here. Always important to think about how your opponent's scry may affect your decisions. Like if my opponent plays a creature here, I might not always Path to Exile it depending on the circumstance, but if my opponent topped something with their Serum Visions, I feel much more inclined to Path to Exile to also screw up their scry. Now in this case it would be advantageous to do so just because it would allow us to tap out on turn 3, but just in general, you know, it's something to keep in mind that Path to Exile not forces a shuffle, but puts your opponent in a comfortable spot where most cases they do shuffle, and then it messes up potential scries. Just want to thank everybody that's hanging out here so far. If you haven't hit the follow button yet, please do so. That would really help me as a streamer that's just starting out, growing the channel. Every follower helps. We've got a November follower goal to hit 200. Now we're 70% of the way there, but we still need 59 more followers to get there. So please go ahead and hit that follow button in the top right of your screen or phone or whatever you're using. It would really help me a ton. Alright, wow, Blood Crypt tapped. That's really good for us. That lets us resolve Saheeli Rai here. And our opponent plays it tapped, which is really interesting. Another Saheeli. Not the greatest. Our opponent knows about both of these lands, but let's see, what's more important, white or red mana at this point? I think ultimately it doesn't matter, but we'll go ahead and tick up here. Look for either the combo, a Snapcaster Mage, anything to help us grind this game out a little bit. A Planeswalker is great. Land number 5, not really in the market for that right now. So one thing that's like awkward about Saheeli in this matchup specifically is that pinging your opponent for 1 with Saheeli is it's kind of awkward because you don't want to help your opponent lose life. But as the game progresses, it actually becomes something that's pretty uncomfortable for my opponent to have to deal with. This is also one of those matchups where Celestial Colonnade is actually really good. I really like Celestial Colonnade in this matchup. Somehow I thought Saheeli would draw a card on a +1. Would that make her broken? Yeah, I think that would make her very broken. Is my opponent going for a... Okay, Inquisition. So we're probably going to lose Path to Exile here. And I have to imagine we might be getting hit by a Gurmag Angler, a Death Shadow. Something's got to hit the board this turn, or we're just going to feel like we're very far ahead. I have a feeling my opponent does not have a Death Shadow draw, or else they would have shocked Blood Crypt in. So this makes me feel like it's more of a Gurmag Angler draw. Now this will give us 1 turn to draw like a Snapcaster Mage, if my opponent taps out for it here. Thought Scour. Sure. But if we can dodge a threat right here at this specific point in the game. Alright, looks like we're not dodging a threat. Yeah, opponent paying costs is almost certainly my opponent. Have you ever +1'd an opponent to death before, like all the way? Not. Well, so I think I've maybe done it once or twice, but generally Saheeli just deals a bit of extra damage. That allows you to burn out the opponent eventually, but never have I actually, I think, like completely won the game just through Saheeli. So Lightning Helix is great. Lightning Helix lets us get rid of the Gurmag Angler here. So I think we'll start with a Scry, but we're almost certainly going to be doing this. Yeah, let's go ahead and get a land on the bottom. So we'll Helix, Bolt. Yeah, sucks we're 2-for-1ing ourselves here, but such is life sometimes. Play our land. Say go. It would be a reverse Liliana in a way, not necessarily really that busted strong, but okay, I guess. So the thing is, Liliana, though, is card neutral, right? You got to remember that. Liliana does not replace herself. Now, obviously, if you down-tick her first, technically you're kind of up a card because you still have a Planeswalker in play and your opponent lost a card. But Liliana's +1 is card neutral, right? So you and your opponent discard a card. Now, it doesn't always feel that way. But generally, I think a Planeswalker that has a +1 at 3 mana that is kind of like certain card advantage, which I would call draw card to be certain card advantage. Like it's not situational; it's 100% card advantage. I would say that would be a little bit too broken, in my opinion. Even with 2 colors in its casting cost, even with the rest of its abilities not being stellar, I think that would be a really powerful Planeswalker. Yeah, there we go. Richard agrees with me, or if I'm gonna call him by his real name, it's Janathong. All right, well, there's the Death Shadow, and I awkwardly don't want to grow it, right? Let's see, my opponent has a Cantrip here. It's going to be kind of awkward order, right? Normally you want to play your Cantrips before you do anything else, just to give you more options. Alright, looks like my opponent could be holding up Dismember here, Stubborn Denial. Oh my god. You know what? I think I'm still going to tick up here. I think the Scry is valuable. Wall of Omens? Yeah, I think I'm actually in the market for that. I think I am. If my opponent wants to take some time to fight Saheeli, I'm also totally okay with that. We're at 22 life. We're not super under the gun here. The issue is my opponent is now going to be untapping with what's probably a lot of interaction with 4 cards in hand. So, hey, Johnny, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. Yeah, the Thong Master. Oh boy. Is this gonna be PG-13 now? Is this legal for YouTube? I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, so this is this is the awkwardness of combo pieces, right? Definitely very awkward. So something to keep in mind here. Wall of Omens might not be the most incredible card. Reason being, it gives my opponents a target for Dismember. It gives my opponent a target for a Snapcaster into Fatal Push. Uh-oh, is my opponent gonna like Teamer Battle Rage my Saheeli? Yeah, that's a trade I'm willing to make. Especially with all these Saheelis in my hand. Very interesting. This kind of tells me my opponent might not have an answer for another Saheeli here. Now they could have a Stubborn Denial. No, I think I still want to play So if I go Saheeli and I +1, even though it dodges Stubborn Denial this turn, Saheeli's +1 would give my opponent the ability to use Stubborn Denial. Ooh, but now the question is, do I walk into the Stubborn Denial? Do I walk into it? And my opponent could still have Fatal Push here. So we could go Saheeli down tick, we could go Saheeli +1, or we could go not play anything to play around Stubborn Denial and give us another turn to block against Death Shadow. I need a mod sort to help keep Twitch chat in check. You know, as the channel grows, I really do need to consider mods moving forward. Hey, San Mavidas, hope you're enjoying the stream. Thanks for hanging out. Yeah, I'm recording for YouTube. They are incentivized to kill Saheeli there, right? I'm not sure if they're incentivized necessarily. I mean, they're incentivized to attack it, but you know, burning a Teamer Battle Rage on it is very interesting. The question is, do I you know, because we have the backup Saheeli, I think this is okay. I think this is okay. Wow, alright, so the question is, does my opponent have another Fatal Push? Now, either way, we're pretty rough to a Dismember here, so I'm going to try to get a Cantrip off, yeah. Now, this is awkward, because now we get kind of 2-for-1'd. But that's how it goes. It's better than a Dismember. And if I'd +1'd, Saheeli would still die anyways, because they'd Fatal Push the Wall of Omens, so no matter which way you kind of cut it here, Saheeli would probably have died. But I went for the line that tried to get me as much value as possible. Oh man, yeah, another Thoughtseize here is kind of rough. And now we're left with nothing while our opponent has a 5/5 Death Shadow. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I typed that before they played the Battle Rage. Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Right on time, buddy. Right on time. Ugh. Well, I think I play it out to avoid any discard effects. Yeah. And now we've lost 3 of our Saheelis already. Jeez. That's rough. That's rough. So this is a 5-turn clock. Well, now it's much less. But my opponent might still have to respect, you know, Snapcaster Mage beats. Alright, not blocking for 1 turn here. I think that makes sense. Next turn we might block, because, well, we wouldn't be dead to Snapcaster Battle Rage. So we might not block. Yeah, this is awkward. I think I'm going to hold the land in case my opponent tries to K-command me. Yeah. So holding it back is important because it means we're not dead to another fetch. Uh-oh. Snapcaster Mage, yep. Targeting Fatal Push. Alright, they're going to crack their fetch. Shadow plays a lot the same way in Legacy, and it is one of the reasons I started playing Accumulated Knowledge. You don't want to rely on your top deck. Really sad that Think Twice is bad in Modern right now. Yeah, Think Twice is not where you want to be in Modern. Glad I checked into the Salvation Spade. Glad to see you back on it for a stream. Yeah, I tried to get the word out on as many places as I could. But glad you're able to find it from MTG Salvation. Yeah, back on the deck for the stream today. So another Snapcaster Mage. Alright, I'll let them target Teamer Battle Rage here, but we are dead to Teamer Battle Rage. Our opponent had... Yeah. Let's take it to game 2, buddy. Yeah, so the combo is kind of rough in this matchup. I normally side out quite a few pieces of it. Quite a few, especially Saheeli. She is quite bad in this matchup. So I like like 2 Rest in Peace here. I don't like the 3rd very much. Baneslayer Angel is kind of okay. So is Vendilion Click. So is Engineered Explosives. And some number of Dispel can be reasonable as well. In this matchup, I like mostly playing like a control deck. So here, probably want to cut the Lightning Bolts. Probably want to cut a couple of the Saheelis. We're bringing in Rest in Peace, so it might be okay to cut like one. Well, Snapcaster Mage is just so good if you don't draw Rest in Peace, so I'm actually okay. We'll cut those at the end if we have more things to cut. Let's cut Saheeli, 2 Saheelis. Felidar Guardian can still get value, and it can't get stubbed, so it's not the worst. Baneslayer, Double Rip, EE. And I do like some number of Dispel in this matchup. We're bringing in Rest in Peace, so maybe I want to cut like a Logic Knot. Don't want to rely too heavily on my graveyard. I think Remand is okay on the play. It's a little less exciting on the draw, but we are on the play right now. Yeah, 2 Saheelis might be okay. I don't know, it's just such a dead card in a lot of places. I think Dispel might be better. Yep, I'm gonna go with this. I just ran it at regionals, ended up 5-3-1, getting 3rd loss in round 9. Man, that's rough, but that's a really nice run. Yeah, I took it to regionals 2 regionals ago, so not this last one, but 2, and I went 4-4. I love it. It's a really fun deck. Hey, Fran B. What's up? I'm doing well. How are you doing? Excited to be streaming today. Yeah, so Bolts are really bad in this matchup, Saheeli is really bad in this matchup, and then, you know, making decisions about Logic Knot based on bringing in Rest in Peace. Worst case scenario, you know, Snapcaster Mage is a chump blocker, it's an Ambush Viper, it does stuff, which I think is okay to have a bit of a non-bow with Rest in Peace. Dispel is nice to force through our path to exiles, force through our expensive Planeswalkers, through Stubborn Denial, because our opponent's probably going to have the full 4 at this point. And also playing reactively against opponent with discard spells is also kind of scary sometimes, so you don't want to rely too much on counter magic. Yeah, this hand has a good mix of things going on here. This Remand might make it awkward for my opponent to interesting. So do I lead on Sacred Foundry here so I can take the least amount of damage as possible if I go with Wall of Omens next turn? I think so. Just got back home from work, so chill and love this deck of yours. Thanks. Yeah, it's a really awesome deck. Hope you had a good time at work. And if you didn't, I'm glad you're back home and relaxing. Are you still playing Dimir in Standard? Yes, I am. Now, playing is a loose term. I haven't gotten to play Arena or Magic Online in quite a bit. But I would say that Dimir is still my go-to deck, even after the Pro Tour results. In fact, I think Dimir might have been reasonably well positioned against the things happening at the Pro Tour. I just think the Golgari matchup is a little shaky, a little shakier than I would like it to be. So that's my big issue with it right now. It's just we pride ourselves on being this deck that like outgrinds other grindy decks, but I have found that Golgari grinds really well. So Dimir in Standard is a little iffy for me right now, but I love it in an aggressive meta. I think we are so well positioned against Boros. That was one of my best matchups in testing, and I won against Boros aggro, I think every time I played it on Magic Online. So I think Boros in general is a really good matchup for Dimir. But that's, of course, really dependent on how the meta shakes up moving forward. I think I might have missed a follow. Chef573, thank you so much for the follow. Really appreciate it. So, we could get punished for tapping out for Wall of Omens here. If our opponent goes like Thought Scour into Gurmag Angler. With that said, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with taking this turn to go Wall of Omens. Just get that set up. I don't necessarily want to remand right now anyways, because our opponent could, you know, play us something. Yeah, we just don't want to be too reactive, is the gist of it, right? Just get our proactive stuff down, and then we can have the full force of our interaction when we have all the tools at our disposal. Opponent fetching Blood Crypt almost certainly indicates they have a second land to play here. The double Blood Crypt is something I've seen people move away from, which we saw the second Blood Crypt out of our opponent last round. So that's definitely interesting to note. So we're in a bit of trouble here. 3 lands is not where I want to be. It's very susceptible to more hand disruption. You're much better like curving out at 3 or 4 in this matchup than, you know, making your land drops every turn. So hopefully that turns out well for us. Yeah, the reason why I didn't, you know, hold up remand here, like technically we could have remanded the Thoughtseize, but where would that have really gotten us? So go ahead and just get our Wall of Omens down. Call it a day. MGA was weird to me tonight. Played versus Rakdos Burn 0-2, Merfolk 1-2, and then 2-0 versus Jeskai Control with my Jeskai Drago. Yeah, I mean, look, MTG Arena has a large variety of decks, but so does Magic Online. I don't know. Yeah, Standard is, excuse me, a bit of the Wild West, huh? So we could have an argument to just getting down Engineered Explosives on 1 here. It does play around Stubborn Denial. The issue is it makes it susceptible to Kolaghan's Command. It makes it susceptible to a Braid if that's what my opponent is playing for whatever reason. But the thing is, we're just not doing anything else this turn. How could we get punished for setting this on 1? We're never setting it to 7 and you know, or 6. And Wall of Omens blocks Snapcaster Mages, so we're really only going to get blown out by Kolaghan's Command. But they have more Ceremonious Rejections than they have more Stubborn Denials than they do Kolaghan's Commands. So I think I'm okay doing this right here. And see how my opponent reacts. So Jace Architect of Thought was a reasonable draw. Of course, the issue is Stubborn Denial at every point of the game. The issue is also Snapcaster Mage, Thoughtseize. That's also a reason to get this Engineered Explosives out. Wow, opponent fetching Basic. It's very interesting. They're very very conservative with their life total here. So it looks like we're going to get hit by a Gurmag Angler here. Great thing is that people can still pay mana for their spells and you can jank around like there is no tomorrow. Is that in reference to Magic to Arena? Okay, so Logic Knot. A little bit too late, huh? Okay. So do we jam Jace right now? What's the chances our Jace actually resolves here? I think very low. I think our chances of resolving this Jace are so small. But at the same time, what's the alternative? Hold up Logic Knot for what? It might be good to just force our opponent to play a spell here. That way they don't, you know, I don't know. At the same time, though, if we draw Dispel, actually, then there might be an argument to hold. Yeah, I'm gonna hold. We have a little bit of time here, and this Logic Knot could protect us from a Snapcaster Thoughtseize. It's a little bit of an iffy line, especially if my opponent has a 4th land to pair with a Snapcaster Thoughtseize plus Stub. And yeah, now them shocking makes me feel like, well, alright, not necessarily. Not necessarily. In Standard, yes, because Modern is a bit dull and way too fast for my liking. Yeah, fair enough. Modern is pretty aggressive these days. Pretty aggressive. But as you see, we're playing a more or less fair game here. I'm just going to take the hit for 1 turn. We could draw Felidar Guardian, lets us blink our Wall of Omens. It's possible our opponent also is sitting on Death Shadows in hand. So let's see if we can hit a Dispel. Ooh, Dispel. Alright, that's what we were kind of playing towards. Now we can't beat double Stubborn Denial, but we can beat one. I think that's all we're really going for right now. Alright, double stub. Sure, yep. That's a shame. Weren't you playing Jace the Mind Sculptor in that slot, or is it my? So I'm playing one of each. I'm playing Architect of Thought and Jace the Mind Sculptor. So I'm gonna hold on to Wall of Omens for one more turn. One more turn, because we still have some draws that can benefit from it. Okay. Another Wall of Omens that gives us. Okay, Snapcaster Mage. Not the greatest, because we don't have much to pair with it here. But if we can find a Path to Exile, we might be sitting pretty. Okay. Hope our opponent floods out a little bit. So the issue is, of course, if my opponent has Temur Battle Rage, I guess we don't die. Even if they have Stub plus Temur Battle Rage, we could double block. Because either way, we'd only lose one, right? Yeah, I'm kind of interested in double blocking here. Alright. My opponent wants to spend like a Lightning Bolt on a Wall of Omens. I think I'm okay. Alright, opponent just plays a land. So if we can find a Path to Exile. Come on. Come on, dealer. That's not a Path to Exile. With another land, it lets us go Helix, Snap Helix, but then we can't fight against opposing Stubborn Denials. The more draws we give our opponent here, the worse I feel about our position. Any reason for the split? So the reason I like splits in a deck like this is, first, they're not our main win condition, so we're not really relying on one specific Planeswalker to take us all the way. Ooh, what I can do here, actually. Okay, so... Alright, so hold on, I'll finish answering your question in a second. What we can do here is we can go Snapcaster Mage, target Dispel. Then we can declare blocks on Gurmag Angler. And if we get to that point, we can Helix. And then we can kill it. Alright, I'm gonna go for it. Maybe it pays off. Okay, we got to this point. So we're going to let this damage happen. And we're going to try to Helix this wormy boy. Oh boy, is this another Gurmag Angler? Oh, that's such an awkward spot because we would really like to Logic Knot here. Okay. Interesting. Oh wait, we can still Logic Knot, right? We could still use up this Logic Knot. What's more useful to us, this Helix or this Logic Knot moving forward? I think that's what we have to assess here. What is more powerful? Actually, we can't Logic Knot because then we can't hold up Dispel. So I think we'll say okay to this. And we will Helix this, white, red. Still holding up the Dispel from our yard. Okay. Alright. That's a Felidar Guardian. So definitely want to hold up white mana here in case we draw Path to Exile. Definitely want to target this Wall of Omens so we can get our value off of it. Alright, that's a land that lets us hold up Logic Knot here, though. At the cost of shocking. Yeah, interesting. But at least we get to hold up Interaction, right? They ate up a lot. Yeah, they ate up a ton of their clock. A ton. Now the question here is, do we get greedy and take a hit? Do we get greedy here? If they have Team or Battle Rage, we have one piece of interaction, but if they pair it with a Snap Stub, we're dead. So, do we put them on Battle Rage plus a counter spell? I think I would just like to buy myself one more turn. And I think I actually value Felidar just a tiny bit more right now, because it can block Snapcaster Mages effectively. I think 10 and 9 are relatively similar, so I'll go ahead and fetch here. Another white mana should be okay. Oh god, is this even good? I'll go for it. I don't know if this is even good right now, but I'm going for it. It might force a Snapcaster Mage out of my opponent's hand. That's what it might do. Yeah, how much do I value this Logic Knot? Oh, well, they're gonna go for the stub, right? I think I'd rather just try to counter the Snapcaster Mage here. They have 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 5, whatever. So going back to the split. The reason I don't like... So the reason I like the split is because we're a deck that sees a lot of our cards in each match. We have a lot of cantrips. Just the fact is, do I attack here? Do I attack? I think I actually like attacking here. I don't think I'm blocking, that's for sure. So the reason, we're a deck that sees a lot of our cards in every match. So I like having versatility in my Planeswalkers because they're each situationally powerful. Ugh, well, now we're screwed. Yeah, I think we just drew one too many lands in this matchup. To be fair, so did our opponent, but not a single Path to Exile in the whole match. Yeah, this match really revolves around actually drawing a Path to Exile. So each one is situationally powerful, and so sometimes you want different ones for different situations. However, they can each individually see a lot of cards each game, so that's what I really like. Yeah, and that's 2 land draws in a row, and that'll do it for us. That'll do it. I don't think this is such a horrible matchup for us, especially post-board, but yeah, we just weren't drawing the pieces that we needed to, unfortunately. That's okay. Shake it off. Go to the next game. Yeah, I actually thought about that. Yeah, they're much harder to hate. Whether it's Needle, whether it's Sorcerer Spyglass, whether it's Phyrexian Revoker, right? They're a little bit harder. Whether it's Meddling Mage, you know, just a little bit harder to hate. Just... Oh my, Stracon's is out of date again? Oh boy. Well, this hand is a hand. It's got a bolt, it's got a Teferi. So we got turn 1 interaction, turn 5 interaction. Are we doing anything in between? I don't know, but I'm keeping it. Opponent going down to 6, though. It's already a good sign for us. Although that's what we said last game. That did not. You should play Taylor Swift "Shake It Off" after every lost match. You know, that's a good That's a good suggestion. Ooh, an Inkmoth Nexus matchup. I already like where this is going. Vault Scourge. Oh, sign me up. Sign me up, Affinity. We came prepared for you. Alright, so looks like this is probably traditional Affinity. Don't need to bolt the Vault Scourge though. Wow, another lightning bolt. That's awesome. That's just awesome. Probably go ahead and just play this fetch land here. Although alternatively we could play the Hallowed Fountain, but there is a corner case where we're gonna want to double bolt next turn, and then on our opponent's turn, and then we're gonna want to untap and maybe draw a Saheeli that we'd want to play. So I'm gonna keep that in mind as we move forward here. Yeah, the only issue with playing music is can't go up to the YouTube channel. Okay, Island. Some of these lists play Island, so not too out of the ordinary. Question is, do we bolt right now? Yeah. Well, I'm going to take the hit. If my opponent plays a Steel Overseer, I'd really rather bolt that and then bolt a follow-up Steel Overseer as well. Paying costs, huh? Walking Ballista. Could this be blue steel? So I'm okay bolting the Vault Scourge now, although maybe bolting the Ballista is better. I don't know. Either way, I don't think it matters. Gonna get another red mana here. Just get a, well, we have a lot of white mana, so another Steam Vents is fine. Another fetch. Not exciting. Not exciting. I think I'll just go ahead and play the Hallowed Fountain tapped. Say go. Hold up Lightning Bolt. See where the road takes us. Alright, Ornithopter. Yeah, that's fine. Another land. Also fine. Master of Ethereum. Huh. So that's a reason. Oh shoot. Well, no, that's fine. I guess I just bolt this Walking Ballista in combat and hope to draw an answer for this other one. Yeah. They'll ping me for one. Yep. Alright, hope to draw an answer for Master. Okay, Jace isn't the worst. The question is, do we go up or down? If we go up, Jace will be on 5 loyalty. And so Inkmoth can hit for 1, Master can hit for 3 next turn. Or we could just get our value right away and then just get it eaten. I think that's also not the worst. Yeah, I don't mind just down ticking right away. It saves us some life and forces our opponent to commit some amount of or damage towards this Jace. Wow. That's, well, at least those aren't on top of our deck anymore. Jeez. So I'm obviously taking the 2-land pile here. I think Hallowed Fountain Mountain is the, well, I'll choose a pile to put in my hand. Yeah, okay. Uh-oh. Paying life. What are you paying life for? Vault Scourge? Okay, I guess that boosts Master of Ethereum by 1, but they still have to send Master at Jace here if they want to kill it, so totally okay with that. I wonder if my opponent plays Stubborn Denials. Probably not. The blue has to be for Thoughtcast or sideboard pieces. Oh my gosh. Wow. I think I might just be forced to Teferi downtick. I mean, if I go Teferi +1, it replaces Teferi, but I guess nothing actually gets rid of the Master, because they'll just draw it in 2 turns anyways. So maybe just digging through our deck is the best option here. Trying to get through this land flood and hope our opponent doesn't play cards like Spell Pierce or Stubborn Denial main deck? And if they do, oh my gosh. Okay, well, it's just gonna be one of those days, guys. It's just gonna be one of those days. Yeah, make use of all the mana in a 22 land deck against the Stubborn Denial Affinity deck. Look, guys, I'm ready to pack it in here. Retire from Magic while I'm behind. Yeah, right. Alright, so what's our best draw? Like a Path to Exile on Master of Ethereum? They still have an island up for more Stubborn Denials. Yeah, so we had our window. It might have been a misplay to bolt the Vault Scourge, but... Alright, sure. Let's go ahead and target the Inkmoth Nexus. Okay, alright, that resolved. That gives me hope. Felidar Guardian, huh? Okay. Alright. You don't main Wraths. No main deck Wraths. So here we can at least get some value. Now if our opponent... Oh gosh. So if our opponent does not play another artifact next turn, we might just be able to take all the damage, go to 1. Oh, well, there's another artifact, so we have to chump now. So our only out is top decking another Felidar. And of course, they could easily just have another Stubborn Denial, so... I guess the blue is also for Master of Ethereum, right? Technically. So they could just have more basics. Okay, okay. We probably want to do this on their upkeep. And then we also want to, in case they have Remand, hold up an extra... Make sure we have double white mana. So this might bait a Stubborn Denial. Yeah, alright. Looks like it does. Oh, but they actually have Spreading Seas for another Stubborn Denial here. Ooh, alright. This is a cool play. I can actually Path to Exile in response, and this will allow me to pay 1. So if our opponent doesn't have the quad Stubborn Denial draw, alright. Alright, looks like things worked out for us here. That worked out. That worked out. Let's go ahead and +1. Another Spreading Seas. Yeah, it kind of answers one of their threats, right? And we have a lot of mana, so I don't mind. I don't mind. Okay. Uh-oh. Alright, Steel Overseer. Well, that'll present lethal next turn. Right? 1 damage. We'll go to 4. That'll be 2 + 3. Actually, it won't be lethal. Okay. That gives me some more hope that life goes on after this. So, I think I'm actually going to +1 before I draw a card. Give me some selection on the top of my deck. Snapcaster Mage is just perfect. Let's go ahead and hit another Inkmoth here. Draw the Snapcaster Mage. Definitely want to do this now. Don't want my opponent to get any +1/+1 counters. And next turn we can actually Saheeli downtick on Snapcat. Oh my, what are you doing? What do you got for me here, buddy? For 1 blue mana, what is it? Do you have like dive down? Are you about to dive down? Alright, opponent. Let's calm down here. Alright. So now, as long as our opponent doesn't top deck Cranial Plating. Yeah, the suspense in this match is killing me. If it's killing you, what do you think it's doing to me? What do you think it's doing to me? Alright, opponent's still going for me. Okay. Okay. Alright. So far, we're still not... Alright, Ornithopter, okay. Path to Exile, wonderful draw, wonderful draw. I still think I would like to do this right now and just hold the Path to Exile in my hand. But this is the great thing about Saheeli Rai, is she is a really awesome value engine. In combination with Snapcaster Mage. So now, let's go ahead and attack with both of our creatures. Yup. Path to Exile gives us a little bit of insurance here. Just a little bit, though. What is it? What is it? Is it Cranial Plating off the top? It is. It is. So we basically are forced to Path to Exile anything my opponent equips here. Yup. Jeez. Alright, so this is actually pretty rough for us. Attack with everything, eh? So we got one more draw step here. See if we can get something good here. Go to 2. Come on, deck. Opt. Okay. So I think I want to opt right now. Start with that. Logic Knob will not do it for me. Snapcaster Mage will do it for me, though. Snapcaster Mage will absolutely do it for me. So if we can run them out of threats here, I'm going to be really happy with our position. Okay, and we're going to want to, if our opponent holds a card in hand, we're going to want to snap Path in response to the equip. That way a Stubborn Denial doesn't kill us. But we will want to make our opponent at least spend some mana. That is important here. Alright. Cranial Plating. So, Snapcaster Mage. Let's go. Okay. Just don't play another Ornithopter. Don't play any evasive threat. Alright, we dodged it for a turn. Whew. This breathing room is just everything we needed right now, actually. Wall of Omens. Let's go ahead and scry one first. Scry towards a Feldar Guardian. Opt. Yeah, I'll opt main phase. Helix. Helix is a removal spell. It's a burn spell. I'll keep it. Actually, next turn, do we have lethal? Our opponent goes to 9. We Helix them. Yeah, we have lethal, actually, for my opponent. Master of Ethereum. Well, now we don't have lethal. So that kind of sucks. Okay, well, at least that's a creature we can block. That is not lethal. Logic Knot's a good pickup. Yeah, the suspense. Oof. Let's go ahead and scry one. Yeah, I'll tick up, see where that takes me. Wall of Omens is another blocker. I think I will bottom it though. I think. Oh wait, did I have lethal? I still had lethal, right? No, or am I doing my math wrong? They would be at 5 right now. No, and they would have 1 blocker. So I'm actually gonna go ahead and attack with my Snapcaster Mages here. Interesting. Opponent decides to block. So I'll Helix. And we trade. And now we're untapping with 5 life and a Logic Knot, so even like creature plus Galvanic Blast doesn't kill us. Oh boy, 4 mana. If this is like a Karn, Walking Ballista, whoo! No. Yeah. Definitely want a Logic Knot that. That gets out of control real quick. This is a pain to play. I'm sorry. No, I'm not really sorry. Does that make me a bad person? Worse than Artifact Prison? That's definitely a lie. Don't tell me that this is worse than Artifact Prison. Actually, they're dead now, right? Helix. Maybe my opponent finally concedes. No, he should be ashamed of himself for playing Affinity. You know what? I don't mind. I think more people should play Affinity. It's one of Jeskai's best matchups, you know? So few people play it these days. So few people. So we've got a lot of really good cards to bring in here. A lot of really good cards. Wow, this matchup just gets really good post-board. I definitely want to cut the remands. I like the combo. I think it's going to be our main win condition. Jason Teferi are a bit slow. Logic Knot is okay, especially against Etch Champion. Spreading Seas, especially against the more heavy blue version, is not something that excites me a lot. I think Jace Architect of Thought is fine. So definitely want to bring Exit Staticaster. Definitely want the Stony Silences. Definitely want the Rejections. Yeah, if I'm bringing Rejection, maybe cutting a Logic Knot is fine. EE is also really good here. I really like all of these as well. Baneslayer Angel just like stonewalls a lot of their creatures if we can get to 5 mana. Click is also reasonable as a flash flying blocker. Anger of the Gods is also reasonable because they do seem to be going decently wide in this Affinity build. A lot of good things here. What do I cut? What do I cut? Maybe just one Anger of the Gods because they can get out of range sometimes, especially with Master of Ethereum in their deck. Baneslayer Angel I really like, and maybe against a Stubborn Denial build, like Jace is just too iffy, so I want to rely more on my creatures. Maybe I can just cut the other Logic Knot. It's a little slow, especially on the draw. Just want to maximize interaction. Yeah, I like this. I like the look of this. Now let's run it. Darth Scat, thank you so much for the follow. I think I missed you earlier. Drewski88, also thank you so much for the follow. Really appreciate it. Getting us closer to our November follower goal. You guys are awesome. Snap Path, copy Snap Bolt, copy. Wow. I mean, sounds like good, clean magic to me. Man, these matches are taking a lot longer than I expected. I thought we would finish a league by like 8, so I actually have to like leave probably by 8:30, which is an hour and 15 minutes. So I guess that's what happens when you don't play an aggressive deck. Even Mardu Pyromancer, in a sense, can close out games a lot faster than Jeskai Saheeli. This also feels like the kind of match where if my opponent is losing and they have like 5 minutes left on the clock, you better believe we're waiting those 5 minutes. You better believe. Path, Snap Path, yeah. 4 lands, no Stony Silence, could be worse. We got removal. We got Path to Exiles. I'll call it a day. Opponent kept the 7. So those are always sometimes the scariest hands from Affinity, when they just keep a clean 7. When I play with my belly as a tambourine, I have... good one! Good one, buddy. That was a genuine laugh, too. Thoughtseize. Thoughtseize this hand, buddy. What are you gonna take? Path to Exile. I guess that's a reasonable take, right? Slows me down just a little bit. Huh. Now let's just play Steam Vents tapped. Say go. Preserve our life total. If we don't have to crack these fetch lands, then we won't. Ghost Quarter. Spicy build for my opponent, that's for sure. The Master of Ethereum. Oh boy. So they're going to get in for quite a bit of damage before we can attempt to stabilize. Well, guess I just play Hallowed Fountain. Say go. It's another Thoughtseize. Now, Vault Scourge. Okay. So as long as the last card in their hand is not a Dispel, or a Stubborn Denial, or a Spell Pierce, I think we might be able to stabilize. At a pretty low life total, but it's stabilizing nonetheless. Let's see if they want to Ghost Quarter me here on my upkeep. That seems poor. Probably if they Ghost Quarter me, it'll be on my draw step. Okay, alright. Saheeli. Not the best here. Not the best. So I think they know about this Plains. So I'm going to play it. Then on their upkeep, I will attempt to Snap Path. That way, if they do have a Stubborn Denial, then they have to at least use the mana on their turn. Although, if they have a Stubborn Denial, we're pretty close to dead, aren't we? We are pretty close to dead. And, I mean, they have to know the Snapcaster Mage is coming. I guess, worst case scenario, we can block the Master of Ethereum for one turn. I guess that's also reasonable. Uh-oh. Oh, no. Yeah, well. Fair enough. Opponent's trying to boost their master, but not a huge deal here. So, definitely going to block. Hope to draw Path to Exile. I think that would be a pretty good draw for us here. Nope. Nope. Well, I don't want to say nope. No, we're dead. We're dead, right? Yeah. Let's pack it in. Pack it in. Pack it in. How good is Wall of Omens against Affinity? Maybe like I cut one wall, play a Logic Knot. Well, the wall is decent against Master. Maybe like an Anger of the Gods on the play is really powerful as well. Yeah, I'm going to actually do that. I'm going to do that. Make sure I have like live top decks. Don't want to like draw a Logic Knot when I'm getting beat down by a Master of Ethereum. Okay. 5 lands, burn spells. Again, we don't play Jeskai not to keep hands like this. So, we keep. Opponent goes down 5 at the very least. Makes our life a bit easier. And they scry to the top. So, let's go ahead and get our mana set up. Again, we don't have Logic Knot in the deck anymore, so getting double blue on turn 2 is not that important. Scourges and Thopters fly. Is a Braid too clunky for this deck? No, I don't think so. I have considered a Braid for this deck, absolutely. Ornithopter. Darksteel, Citadel. Arcbound Ravager. So they can sack Thopter, sack Darksteel. Anger of the Gods will still get them. So I think we just take our Anger next turn, get our 2-for-1 in here. Alright, sack 1, sack 2. Yeah, anger is fine here. And then play our most expensive spell, keep our instant speed interaction for man lands, to play around counter spells, whole bunch of things. Now, obviously, actually, they could, no, they can't, right? They could sack Darksteel Citadel, I guess, and then Ornithopter would be, then Ornithopter would be quite large. Ornithopter would be a 2-4. How scared are we of a 2-4 while our opponent is down a land? How scared are we of a 2-4? It's definitely something I should have considered before I made this line of play. Running less than 18 lands does that to your mull starts? Yeah, for sure. Affinity doesn't mull well at all. No, it doesn't. I think I'll trade Anger for a Darksteel Citadel and an Arcbound Ravager. Will I, though? Yeah, I think so. Now that I think about it, I think maybe the correct play was just to bolt, but then they could have still made the same play. They could have still made the same play. So now they have to decide whether their second land is worth it. Looks like it's not. Not worth it to them. Okay, so maybe that'll slow the opponent down enough for me to draw some more relevant cards against a 2/4. Although, again, I'm really thinking about this line, and I'm wondering maybe it wasn't the smoothest. Well, it looks like there's another Darksteel Citadel right there. And a Cranial Plating. Okay. Okay. So am I going to have to 2-for-1 myself here like an idiot? When I could have maybe waited a turn to Anger plus Bolt? Now we're probably just going to draw mono lands. Please don't give me mono lands. Stony Silence would be a nice pickup here. Your mic is sounding great. Is it really? Thank you. Yeah, it's a really nice mic. I actually got it for pretty cheap. I'm glad the sound quality is good. That feels really nice that you say that. So this, I kind of want them to commit a mana, but I'm worried that they top deck like an island. Still want them to commit a, no, so I can do it in response, right? Ooh, Mox Opal. I can still do it in response. Yeah, I can still do things in response. All right. Like if they try to equip here, I can go Helix, Bolt. And I want to lead with Helix. I think that's pretty important. Just gains us the life. Don't like 2-for-1ing myself here though. That makes me feel really bad. Ooh. Looks like. Think I'll say okay. Hopefully this 2-life doesn't come to bite me. Yeah. Oh my god, it's not colorless. Oh gosh. Master of Ethereum isn't colorless. I hate myself right now. I hate myself. Wow. Wow. So I think we have to let this resolve and double burn spell it. It's definitely the scarier threat. Yeah, that really sucks. But it is what it is sometimes. We are still close to running my opponent out of threats. That's definitely something that's still on the table here. And I'm kind of glad I waited on my burn spells. But that's a draw that I did not want to see. Yep. So it's all coming back to that Arcbound Ravager turn. I definitely think I could have played that a bit better. All right, Inkmoth. They going for the 2-turn kill here? Oh, that's rough. That is really rough. But it also means that next turn, if we draw Snapcaster Mage, that'll be a pretty nice draw. Means we have a couple more outs. Saheeli. Well, that's lethal. Crap. Turn too late. Turn too late. Our opponent correctly identified that that's the kill they should go for. Well played by the opponent. Well played. I guess I'll put them to the test, make them do that, but it looks like this might be the end of the road for us. Which is a real shame. It's a real shame. Yeah, I mean, there's no reason our opponent's going to go for a different line here, right? Torpor. Wow, wait a second. That's a different line. Okay. We're not dead. Hanging on, but we're not dead. So do we keep the click on top? Well, it depends what our opponent goes after. Looks like they go after Saheeli. So I think I will keep the click on top. And I do want to bait my opponent into attacking with the Ink Moth. I don't want to disrupt their hand at this point. Okay. Alright. Opponent's going to go attacking. We're going to go blocking. Hopefully our opponent doesn't have like a dismember here, which is definitely reasonable for them to play considering they saw the combo. But let's see what they got. Stubborn Denial, Surgical Extraction. So here I definitely think we take the Stubborn Denial. Well, not definitely. This gives us one turn for an out. To draw like a Path to Exile. But I think in this case a random card is generally worse than a Stubborn Denial. And moving forward, the Stubborn Denial is going to be an issue. So just going to take that. Okay, we're alive. Somehow we are alive. There's the re-equip. There's the passing of the turn. So Snapcaster Mage is going to be a pretty rough draw here at this point. And I'm going to hold one of these fetches. Well, they can surgical my Saheeli if they want. That blows the combo. Do we play it out? I think so. It kind of means we're just letting our opponent know about everything we've got, but I think at this point our opponent's not going to play around anything. And I'd rather have the full use of my mana next turn to potentially go through my deck in terms of cantrips. So it's kind of us putting our cards on the table here. But I think it's the correct play. Alright, land for our opponent. Oh no, is this another Cranial Plating? Alright, Steel Overseer. If my opponent doesn't Surgical Saheeli on our draw step, then we might actually have a chance here. And I guess now I would like to crack this fetch to increase my odds of drawing something relevant. 6 is not very different from 5, I don't think. Oh wow, well, guess we start getting basics. Ah, and our opponent didn't even Surgical, so Saheeli would have won the game. Wow. Whew, close games with the opponent there. Close games. That's rough. Drew a few too many lands than I would like to see, but that's how it goes sometimes, right? There's the Stony Silence. There's the Staticaster. Ugh. Not off to a good start here. That's a shame. But regardless of record, I hope you guys are enjoying the stream so far. Definitely, I enjoy getting a chance to test out Jeskai Saheeli. One of my favorite archetypes, but you know, losing a slightly unfavored to even matchup in the first round and then losing a favored matchup in the second round, that never feels good. Let's see if we can rattle back here. The 3-2 dream is still alive. Man, these hands. Well, on the play, I think it's going to be a keep, but it's definitely a little bit sketchy, right? Especially if our opponent has some sort of turn 1 play, which most decks in Modern do. I wonder if I could have played that Affinity game differently. I might go back and think about it, that Arcbound Ravager line. Maybe I could have set up a turn where I could sweep plus have Bolt, or just hold the sweeper. I don't know. That's going to be a game I'll have to look back. Hey, you look just like a guy I used to watch on Twitch. Hey, Longclaw. How's it going? Yeah, it's been a while. Have not streamed consistently. Let's just say that. Opponent's also on the 64 card special here. Not sure what that means for us, but they did keep their 7, so I'm glad to have you back, Longclaw. Though, how you been? Talk to me. I don't think we've interacted in a month or so. Good to hear it. Good to hear that you're good. Breeding pool. Search for Mara. So honestly, one of my first instincts was this is some sort of like Bring to Light deck where you want to have extra cards in your toolbox or extra land drops to make. So my guess is 4 or 5 color Bring to Light here, but we'll see. Trying out blue-white mid-range. How's that working out for you? That is a sweet deck. It's a deck I tried in the past. Island Forest. Yeah, I think I'll remand here. I don't think we need any double white here, so just take the least amount of damage. Slow my opponent down. We have double remand here. If we can draw into something to do next turn, like Saheeli, I think we'll be in good shape. Feels like the old Geistless. Interesting. Does blue white play Geist? All right, Spire Bluff. Not the most exciting. Saheeli, that's exciting. And that is a card I'm happy to tap out for. Let's go ahead and get that land on the bottom. Now we're threatening a turn 4 kill. And that's where we want to be here. Alright, looks like this is some sort of Bant deck. So at least 3-color deck, right? And I think we can presume that it is. Well, we can't presume anything, can we? Could just be your good old-fashioned like Bant Turbo Fog, Bant Ramp. That happens every once in a while. Prismatic Omen. All right, never mind. Looks like this is Scape Shift indeed. So Bring to Light, Scape Shift. So they crack 5 and then Scape Shift 6 with Prismatic Omen. Is that good enough? Does that kill us? Do we have to hold up? So these are lands, they're every type, right? Yeah, that means they tap for every mana, which means Spreading Seas does not do a whole lot right now. So the question is, do we tap out? I don't think we do. I think we'll scry Wall of Omens, scry to the bottom. I think we might as well Spreading Seas, even though it doesn't do much, in case this Prismatic Omen ever does leave the battlefield. I guess we can hit a red source, although again, this really doesn't matter. Don't think it does, unless this is like a layers thing. Is it a layers thing? I don't know. Does this actually become a island now? And in that case, did I just fix my opponent's cryptic mana? Although I guess they had Prismatic Omen, so regardless what we do, they have cryptic mana. Although, not necessarily, right? No, yeah, regardless what they do, they have cryptic mana. Alright, looks like it is an island. Huh. Would you look at that? Layers are an interesting thing that I know nothing about, but well, there's the natural Valakut. Oh boy. Oh boy. Sakura Tribe-Elder is really good here. It means they can disrupt the combo at any time they want. Farseek. Yeah, I think I'll trade 2 burn spells for Saheeli if that's what they want to do. Now, hopefully they don't have natural Scape Shift. Is this target? This is to any target, right? It looks like they're just going for me. And that feels good. I guess they do have insulation against the combo here. They don't really need to clear Saheeli. Snapcaster Mage, huh? Well, there's the Felidar Guardian. Man. Still think we're forced to keep it. Because next turn we can go Felidar, move the Spreading Seas, and still hold up Remand. Which is not a bad line. Not a bad line indeed. But right now I think holding up Remand against potential Bring to Light is really important. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We can't beat natural Scape Shift though, because they can crack Sakura Tribe-Elder here, and then they can have double Scape Shift mana. So Remand is not always the best against Scape Shift decks. But let's see what happens. Oh god, another Valakut. Well, there goes Saheeli. Fair enough. Fair enough. Alright. Swing for 1. It'll be interesting to see if my opponent cracks a Tribe-Elder in response to us moving the Spreading Seas. And I also wonder if I go Snap Remand here to just be mana efficient if my opponent plays a spell. I think so. I think so. But we are getting into a dangerous position where Remand is no longer really a functional counterspell. So we really want to try to convert Remand into something usable here. Now, remand, snap remand could be reasonable, but we're also still need to develop the board, right? We can't just sit back the whole game, especially when our opponent has an onboard answer to our combo. So, we're going to have to try to win this game the hard way. Alright, opponent doesn't jam. These are also situations where I like Logic Knot a little bit more than remand. So we got the Feldar Guardian. Let's see if our opponent has their own piece of counter magic, maybe. And I wonder if we'll respond to that. Wonder if we'll respond. All right. Looks like no counter magic, which means they probably have gas or land drops. Either way, I'm not excited about that. Now, if my opponent wants to get their Sakura Tri-Belter double activation here, they're going to want to do this in response to me targeting Spreading Seas, because they won't get a chance anymore. Yep, looks like that's what they're going to do. Let's see, they target they target Feldar Guardian with both triggers, which makes sense. They don't want to get comboed out. But this is okay, it buffers my life total. I kind of answer one of the Valakuts, and I still get to keep up remand this turn. So, you could say it's not the end of the world. You could say that. Jace, well, Jace, not the worst magic card. Although, it's kind of poor against Valakut, right? But we could pair it with this fetch land next turn, and maybe go places. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They have 9 mana. So it looks like they might be going for the Bring to Light here. Maybe just a Search for Tomorrow. Wargate. Hello. Search your library for permanent with converted mana cost 0. So they could be searching for a Valakut here, right? Oh boy, that's 6 damage, right? If I remand this, I'm dead to Bring to Light. I think that's worth noting. But then they just recast Wargate, right? So I think we just have to say okay. Opponent gets another. That's really sweet. Prismatic Omen plus Wargate. That is cool. I will give that to my opponent. That is some sweet interactions going on. Dead. Yeah. All right. Let's see if my opponent wants to crack their fetch. Yeah, they'll crack it. They'll kill us. I'm gonna sideboard quickly. And then I'm dying to use the restroom. So let's go ahead and jump into sideboarding here. I think we're gonna want to maximize our interaction in this matchup. Minimize our amount of burn spells probably, especially Path to Exile, and our removal spells, specifically Path to Exile, seems pretty poor. They might have like Tireless Trackers and stuff, but it just doesn't go face, and these might just be the better removal spells. Definitely want Click, definitely want Dispels. Man, I did not come prepared. And Engineer Explosives, I guess, to kill Prismatic Omen. Otherwise, like maybe Baneslayer Angel as like a top end threat. I think the rest of our deck is just better though. Just a little bit better, right? Alright, I'm gonna not hit submit because I'll run to the bathroom, but stick around, I will be right back. Alright, hope y'all enjoyed the chair stream. But we're back. And ready to rumble. We going here, Magic Online? Uh-oh. Magic Online, hit the fan. Alright, we're back in it. But it's still on the 64 card special. You know what? Maybe that's the meta right now. Maybe that's the meta. No. This is like the same hand without Saheeli. Alright. Got some cantrips. Our opponent over there sitting with a 64 card deck draws perfect 7s. We're over here struggling to keep a 5. That's alright. That's alright. No, I'm not salty. Alright. Turn 1, search for tomorrow. Let's go ahead and get a steam vents here. Let's see if we can at least like get a goldfish draw. I think that's one of our best ways to beating our opponent here. But as it stands, our hand is quite poor. And I think this matchup is also like I did not sideboard in a way where I want to beat control decks. Most of my sideboard was like against Dredge, against humans, against Hollow One, and that's just like against combo decks like Tron, KCI, and that's just not what we saw today, right? We saw Grixis Death Shadow into Affinity, into 5-color Bring to Light. That's going to happen sometimes. With a format as wide as Modern, you're going to run into some rough variants like this. Valakut. Maybe there was an argument to not shuffling my deck on turn 1 to make my Scry 1 in the start of the game useful. Yeah, it's marginal, but it's something to keep in mind when you're playing Magic. Make sure to squeeze out as much value as you can. Opponent keeping us on our upkeep here. So while we're waiting, let's go ahead and bring up another topic of discussion. And you know what? We can still wait here. Has anyone seen the trailer for Detective Pikachu? If you haven't, go watch it right now. If you're a Pokemon fan, it brought me so much joy to see Pokemon brought to life, just like on the big screen. As a child and as an adult right now, like that is one of the most exciting things, because I'm not necessarily excited about the premise of Detective Pikachu, but seeing the potential for a live-action Pokemon movie, you know, produced well, is more than I could ever hope for. So what are the odds our opponent is playing Lightning Bolt? What are the odds? And what are the odds they have it? Because we could go Saheeli Downtick on Wall of Omens, get some card advantage, but if our attempt is to combo on turn 4, Scrying 1 does very similar things. But if we think this game might go long, I think Saheeli Downtick might actually be better. I think Saheeli Downtick is better. I think a density of cards here is more important. And if they have a bolt, it's getting, the combo's getting blown out anyways. So I don't know. It's close. It's definitely close. This is one of the reasons I've enjoyed playing Death Shadow decks and more broadly Thoughtseize decks in Modern, because you just get steamrolled by so much less. I don't want to call it jank what my opponent's playing, because it's definitely not jank, but you get steamrolled less by weird decks. I think that's the best way to put it. You don't, you put up a fight against the tier decks and non-tier decks of the format. Whereas with control decks, you have to be really tuned for the metagame. Even with a proactive control deck like this, you gotta be tuned. You gotta be tuned. And if you're not tuned, you're just gonna lose. So that's what you see a little bit here, right? We did not tune our deck well enough to, Cryptic Command, bounce Saheeli, draw a card. Okay. Sure. I'm just gonna keep getting my value. Logic Knot is a spicy draw. Spicy draw. So now we're kind of crawling back from our multi 5 here a little bit. Just a little bit. Getting a Cryptic Command out of my opponent's hand, though, because generally the average card out of my opponent's deck is worse than a Cryptic Command. What's scary is that they might be building towards something really powerful here on 5. Whether that's like Prismatic Omen plus a ramp spell, or just Bring to Light for X equals 4. They have green, red, blue, white. With a 5th land, they could play white. White land and Bring to Light for X equals 4. And then I don't know what's in my opponent's deck. But I'm very content playing the game that my opponent's playing here. Sure. Maybe they're digging for land drops. Maybe that's it. Maybe they're going for lands. Okay. So, I have a couple options this turn. I think we'll just go Saheeli Downtick again. And we can still hold up a Logic Knot for whatever big thing my opponent is playing towards with these Cryptic Commands. I'm playing Flooded Strand out here because it gives us more fuel for Logic Knot, if we so desire. Look, if my opponent's got Spell Pierce, hats off to them. But something tells me they've got nothing. All of our opponents today have just been burning clock like it's worthless. Like all of our time in this world is not meaningful. As someone who plays a mid-range / control deck and is also streaming, and I'm only 6 minutes in game 2 and my opponent is almost 15, I don't know. I don't know, man. This is where the rope would start showing up in MTG Arena. Yeah, it's driving me nuts too. I gotta leave soon. I really wanted to finish the league today. At least finish off X3, right? Look at us. 6 cards each. This is exciting. We've crawled our way back into this game, hitting land drops. Toe-to-toe in number of cards. Somehow. Farseek. Okay. Definitely not countering a Farseek at this stage of the game. Prairie Stream, huh? Let's get a hollowed fountain, a hollowed boy. We got plenty of red mana sitting in our hand. You got something, opponent? You gonna do the old my end step cryptic command, your replayable permanent play? Hey, I don't judge. I don't judge. It could have been the correct line from my opponent. We don't know the contents of their hand. We do not know the contents of their hand. They could have just needed land drops, right? And they could have hit it with a cantrip each time. Hard to tell. Snapcaster Mage. Whew. Snapcaster Mage Logic Knot. So Logic Knot, Snap, Logic Knot. Could we pull that off? I don't know. I don't know. It's a stretch, especially considering our opponent has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mana. I think we'll start with a Scry. See what's sitting on top. We might just want to draw it naturally. Like if it's a Dispel, I definitely will like spreading. Oh, it's a Remand. Yeah, I think I'll keep that on top. I'm gonna Spreading Seas the Valakut here. Yeah, now I like that. I like that. So I think, had that not been the case, we might have kept up Snap, Logic Knot. Logic Knot, Snap, Logic Knot. We could have also hit one of their green sources, right? That's also very reasonable. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. 7 mana. What in the... Okay, Oh no. Oh no. Do we have to remand this? Remand it because we can't Logic Knot it? Oof. Okay, so if my opponent has a counterspell that they're going to hit on the remand here, then we can then Logic Knot. So they're remanding my remand. Question is, do they have... So, I'm gonna now Logic Knot the Scape Shift for X equals 2. Because I definitely want to counter Scape Shift. I don't want to get hit by a Logic Knot. But oh, they have the Dispel. Yeah. So when they have the Dispel, there's no way we could have beat that. They had their combo police plus 2 pieces of interaction for ours, and now we just have to hope. Yeah, maybe hitting Spreading Seas on Valakut was wrong. Maybe I'm just supposed to go for the breeding pool. Huh. Maybe I'm just supposed to go for the breeding pool. Force them to have exactly another green source. And that feels rough. But it's good to learn from the games, right? Alright, that's 18 damage. Gonna go for our face. Yeah. I mean, considering we nearly crawled back from a multi 5 here, I think we did okay. I think we did okay. I really wonder if they had another 3rd green source in their hand. I don't know. Well, we tried. We tried. And we're down. We're down and we're out. So, we're 0-3 in this league. You know, I was going to play a little bit longer, even if we 0-3'd, but I do actually have to leave soon. So let me pull up the deck again real quick to close out the stream. Yeah, this was a rough league. So we played against Grixis Shadow. Traditionally, Jeskai Saheeli is a bit unfavored against Grixis Shadow. Obviously, the control aspects of your deck are pretty good, but the combo aspects are pretty bad. Sometimes you can just grind them out with your Planeswalkers and your snaps and things like that, but not always, right? So I would say Grixis Shadow is a bit of a rough matchup for this deck. Affinity, I would say, is a very good matchup, and we even came prepared with the sideboard to beat it, but man, did we just have some rough beats in those games, so I'm not going to take that loss to heart. Affinity is a matchup I definitely want to see on the other side of the table when we're on this deck. And then the third game, our third match against 4-color Bring to Light, man, that was... We definitely were not optimized to beat those decks, but that's what Modern is sometimes, right? It's a mesh of all these different decks, and sometimes you come prepared for the wrong deck, and so you lose against these weird strategies. And that's just the way Modern is going to go sometimes. Again, also not going to beat myself up over it. And at the same time, I think we learned a few things as we played those games. I think, you know, we remembered that we might not want to fetch on turn 1 if we scryed, you know, with our mulligan, and then we might want to Spreading Seas a green source if our opponent only has 2 and they're on Scape Shift, right? Just these small things to keep in mind that in the future may gain us some percentage points moving forward. With that said, we were hoping to hedge towards Dredge, towards aggro decks, and that's just not what we found today. And that's going to happen in Modern from time to time. And that's the frustration some people get in Modern, right? That's why they feel so lost. Because even if you pick up a Tier 1 deck, you could lose to Tier 2, Tier 3 decks that you just never prepared for. So, you know, Modern is a bit of the Wild West. Very similar to Standard, although I think Standard is a bit more shaken out now than Modern is. So, a lot of things to keep in mind if you're into playing the Modern format. A lot of things to keep in mind if you're playing Jeskai Saheeli. I definitely think it was correct to cut down to 2 Remand and 2 Spreading Seas. Definitely think those are some of the weakest cards in your deck. Obviously, they're very powerful when your opponent is playing, you know, an interactive strategy, but it's less powerful when they're not. And I think there's far more less interactive strategies in Modern than there are interactive. You know, I think this removal base is pretty solid. 4 Path, 3 Bolt, 3 Helix is exactly what Control does. Now, granted, they run a few Sweepers, few Electrolyze, but I think it's still a pretty solid core, especially considering we don't necessarily want to answer everything our opponent has. We just want to answer a few key things that'll give us enough breathing space to combo. In terms of the Planeswalkers, you know, unfortunately we didn't get to see them in action very much, and I think honestly that's why Jan, another person who develops the deck, moved away from Planeswalkers, just because, you know, he was more combo-centric, you know. He just wanted to close out the game, combo out. That's why he played 4 Spreading Seas, 4 Remand, you know, 3 to 4 Wall of Omens, 4 Serum Visions, is because the longer the game goes, the less of a chance you actually have to win. So, you know, just maximize your ability to cycle through your deck with some minimal disruption along the way, and then just win the game. And I think that's a very serviceable way to address Saheeli, especially in a non-interactive format. But with that said, Spreading Seas and Remand were a little bit better in the past. Nowadays, I just don't think they're that strong, and I think that's my issue with overloading on them. So that's my take on this list in front of you. I hope you enjoyed today's stream. I really, really hope you enjoyed today's stream. I don't know when the next time I'll be able to stream is, but we had a fair amount of steady viewers here today. So please, if you enjoyed today's stream, make sure to hit that follow button. That way you get notifications whenever I go live. I'll try to work out a schedule moving forward. You know, next week is Thanksgiving break. I'm definitely going to have some free time there. Now, that not guaranteed that you all will have free time, but you know, we'll try to make things work, and I will consider a schedule moving forward. And at this point, I don't think I'm capable of sustaining anything more than a day or 2 per week. But if I can get a schedule where you guys know when I'm going to be streaming, I think that will at least give you some stability, give you some more availability to watch my streams. You can carve out some time. You know, I'm not expecting you to carve out, you know, a whole 2 hours for me out of your day, especially if it doesn't line up well. But the idea is that at least if you expect me on a certain day, that you will have a higher chance of showing up here. And that's really all I want. I want to be able to interact with you guys, and I want to make it convenient for you guys to interact with me and absorb my content in some way. Also, if you're on YouTube, thank you all so much for the support. I know I haven't made a dedicated YouTube video for you guys in a while, but I do appreciate every single one of you watching my Twitch streams and my Twitch replays. That's awesome. Thank you all so much on that end. And if you all want to pop by for a live stream, make sure to follow me here at twitch.tv/olagzeal. Then you can catch me live and and that works in case, because some streams, you know, I play music and keep it more chill, and then, you know, I can't upload that to YouTube. Just something to keep in mind if you're on the YouTube end. Not all of my Twitch streams do get uploaded. Thanks for the more Jeskai Saheeli content is appreciated. Yeah, T Greenwood. I am happy to produce that content. It's, again, one of my favorite decks. I think it's relatively okay in the meta right now, as okay as you can call the modern meta, you know. So I'm happy that I can at least discuss it with you guys and, you know, get your ideas on it and show you how it plays out. Whew. Yeah, Seize is not good right now, agreed. Yeah, Longclaw, I don't think Seize is very good right now either. Ransom60, thanks for the follow. Hopefully that wasn't too long ago. Appreciate the follow. Thanks for catching the stream. But I think that's it, guys. I think I'm gonna wrap it up here. Follow me on Twitch. Make sure to be on certain Facebook groups like the Mardu Pyromancer group or the Modern UWX community on Facebook. And then also follow me on Twitter. I post all of my updates on Twitter. You can follow me at Oren MTG. You get notifications right to your phone that I am going live. Right, so can I see your current Dimir list? Sure, I haven't touched it in a while, but I'll sure go ahead and cycle over there for you. But this is where I'm currently at. Right here. I have not updated it based on the Pro Tour. Not updated it. We did see some blue-black decks actually succeed at the Pro Tour. So I'll have to go take a look at those and, you know, assess. I think moving forward, I definitely want to be playing 3 Moment of Craving for a Danto Vanguard, and I think at least 3 Ritual Soot is where you want to be. And also, in an aggressive meta, might not want the full Force Sinister Sabotage. Maybe start diversifying with Essence Scatter. And you also might not want Blood Operative in the main deck or Disinformation Campaign as a 4 of, but that's also things to consider moving forward. But, yep, those are my quick thoughts on Dimir. Hopefully that was okay. I'm also considering a Grixis campaign. I'll just pull it up here real quick. This is also a direction I'm considering taking the deck with Nicol Bolas and stuff, just for some added, you know, built-in power. Hey Frank, see Oren, thanks for the stream. See you. See you, Fran. Really appreciate you dropping by and hanging out and chat throughout. Hope you enjoyed the stream, and I hope you tune in the future. Whew. All right, guys. That's it. Bye. Don't have an outro. Maybe I can host a stream, host a small stream if you guys are willing to hold on just a second. Let's see if we can find a stream to host. Channel. Dun, dun, dun. Let's try to give some views to someone a little less popular. Oh, my man Fluffy Wolf is streaming. Let's go ahead and host Fluffy Wolf. He's a great guy. Hope you guys enjoy his stream. Yeah, no problem, Brian. Thanks for sticking around today. Let's see if I can host correctly. Alright, see you guys. Hope this works.